Let's reduce taxes. Let's keep government out of our lives and out of our businesses. It's businesses that create jobs, not government. Okay? And when we have jobs, we have revenue. When we have revenue, everybody wins. At the county level, local municipalities, and certainly the state and nationally. Jobs are the key to keeping our folks in their homes, to keeping food on the table, to keeping our doors open in our schools. Okay? And lastly, common sense. Just good old-fashioned common sense. I'm not afraid to reach across to the other party because I do believe that I can convince folks that there's a better way for everybody. Not just for their party, not just for our party. Republicans and conservatives seem to see it a little bit better. I think I can bring people over towards common sense. So that's why I'm running. That's who I am. Stuart Mears, State House District 86. Please, friends, family, anybody you know. That's Wellington, Royal Palm Beach, Loxahatchee Groves, West Palm Beach, going all the way down to Palm Beach Lakes. Let them know. I'm here for them and to be their voice in Tallahassee. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Theus, please. Tell us about yourself. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I would like to thank the American Conservatives of color. I'd like to thank Mr. Smith. I'd like to thank Derek Wilburn and former Congressman Allen West for putting together this event. I think it's very important that we continue to push to change the way that, especially the minority, change the way we operate in regards to voting. We tend to vote party line. And when I registered to vote, I'm 25 years old. When I registered to vote, I was 18, and everyone in my house, everyone in my family, they're Democrats, and a lot of them really have no idea why they're Democrat. They don't understand the principles. They're just stuck on the way the Democrats, okay, just become a good Democrat. I'm a little bit different. I said, you know what, I'm gonna register as a Republican and look and to really understand what their principles are and what they stand for. So as I looked into it, I realized the Democrats, they work so well into really brainwashing people, especially the minority community, really brainwashing them with all types of programs, all types of, and just keeping them at a level where there's really no advancement. They don't focus on the independent, they just focus on keeping them down. And I said, I'm not one that's dependent, I'm independent. So I stuck with the principles and the values of the Republican Party. My name is Kesnel Theus, everyone. I'm running for Port of Palm Beach Commission. I just graduated with my bachelor's in legal studies at Nova Southeastern University. I work right now as a claims representative for a Social Security Disability and Veterans Disability Law Office, where we help disabled individuals and veterans obtain their disability benefits. I'm a small business owner. I'm an aspiring attorney. And at the Port of Palm Beach is a special taxing district and a major economic engine for this county. And I look forward to bringing me a young perspective. I look forward to continue to drive and boost the economy here in the county, continue to make our voice heard, be the icebreaker for the Democrats and the Republicans, and making those, which I've already started doing, but really creating that ice break and letting those understand that, hey, you know, kind of look into what we stand for. And I think, you know, work will continue to get done in this country. And Congressman Allen West, and I've been following him for a long time. He doesn't know who I am. It's my first time meeting him, but, you know, we used to chat through your Yahoo account many, many years ago. so keep up the great work, and I look up to you. Thank you.
Isn't it great to have young people like that dealing with this young man? That's outstanding. To be so aware politically, understand that we must be engaged in the political process in order to save this country. Frederick Douglass has a quote on one occasion. Douglass said, "Nevertheless, this is not time for the friends of freedom to fold their arms and consider their work at an end. The price for liberty is eternal vigilance." Stay engaged. And, well, I can tell these two men come from good stock. I think Your parents are here, Mr. Theus, right?
No, they couldn't make it tonight.
They couldn't make it here, okay. But you still come from a good start. That's great. That's great. And of course, last but not least, a representative. This is Uriah Ellis for the Pam Bundy campaign.
Good evening to you all. My name is Uriah Ellis, and I represent our current and future Attorney General Pam Bondi as she runs for I have to be honest, I grew up amongst the Baptists. Anytime you put a Baptist behind a podium, we're inclined to take a text and preach a spell. But I'm going to do my best to keep my remarks brief. I guess I'll have to be like a Presbyterian late for lunch today. But as they say in Tallahassee, where I've been for the past 7 years, I'm just plumb thrilled to be working with this campaign because I recognize in Pam Bond that we have a very good Attorney General. I'm reminded of something the late Senator from Georgia, Dick Russell, he used to say, now a senator is given a 6-year term for a reason. He's given 2 years to be a statesman, 2 years to be a politician, and 2 years to be a demagogue. And if you think about it, that's just about right. If we look from the Beltway to the Gateway to the Golden Gate, we see that there are so many people in this country who were supposed to be statesmen, but they've really given themselves over to the art of perfecting demagoguery. But fortunately in Florida, we don't have that problem so much. We have a great governor, a great lieutenant governor, a great CFO, a great ag commissioner, and we have a great attorney general. And so as I go across Palm Beach and Broward counties representing General Bondi, I'm very pleased to share with people what she's done. Because she really has, in the past 3.5 years as attorney general, proven herself to be one who's committed to the people of Florida. Whether it's combating human trafficking or fighting synthetic drugs or shutting down killing mills across this state, we see that Pam Bondi's been one fighting for the people. She really has been a candidate with a heart, in the heart of the people of Florida. And so with your help, we can see to it that she gets another 4 years in Tallahassee. I shared a story with a few members of the REC at the last meeting, and I'll share with you, similar to Mr. Theus, I come from a family full of Democrats, yellow dog Democrats. They would sooner vote for a Labrador before they would a Republican. But slowly but surely they're beginning to recognize, as I put it, right is right, and that's just right for this country. And so I tell them that, they believe so much in Father God. And I say, if that's the case, then don't rely so much on Uncle Sam. There is a God who loves you, and who will take care of you. And recognize that there is a voice in conservatism that makes good sense. And so I'm very proud to say that there are members of my family who now have Pam Bondi bumper stickers on their car and Pam Bondi yard signs in their yard. And if that's trying to sound the apocalypse, I don't know what is. And so I said all that to say this, to encourage you to be vocal in your support of our Attorney General, Pam Bondi. I brought bumper stickers with me this evening in yard signs, and I encourage each of you to take one to let people know that you're behind her. And with her back in office, I guarantee you, Florida will be a better place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving forward here, I want to, before I introduce Colonel Allen West, of course, he don't need any introduction at all. And I have this paper on the screen. Oh, what I did I do something wrong? See, it's not an apple. That's why I did it.
You're the teenager out there.
That's right. It was 2 young men that come back up here. While he's doing that, let me quickly, before I introduce Colonel West, let me share a little bit more with you about this Frederick Douglass Republican movement and this Frederick Douglass Republican methodology of engagement that we teach and train. One of the things that we cover in our training, we do a training program called Frederick Douglass Republicans 101. And I want to offer you a perspective, something you need to think about, as to help you understand why we have a difficult time in terms of engaging, getting, and inspiring people to join the ranks of our movement, the conservative movement. I am a Republican. I am a conservative. That's okay to talk that language in here, but when you're out there trying to engage, it does not work. The way I identify myself politically, I am a Frederick Douglass Republican. So when I say that I'm a Frederick Douglass Republican, that gives you a glimpse of what I believe in. I believe in the 4 life-empowering values of Frederick Douglass. Number 1, respect for the U.S. Constitution. Thank you. Number 2, respect for life. Number 3, the belief in the limited power of government. And 4, the belief in personal responsibility. It comes out of 2 Thessalonians. If a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. So those are the 4 life empowerment values of Douglas. So to become a Frederick Douglass Republican is not based on your color or your ethnicity. It's based on those 4 life empowerment values. And I see a lot of Frederick Douglass Republicans in here. I think everybody here is a Frederick Douglass Republican. I'm going to come back later on, but I'm going to talk about the word conservative. Man, let me just do about 1 minute. Bear with me. We got to understand as conservatives that when we out there trying to engage, that the word conservative, the name Republican Party, those words have a negative connotation because we're losing the propaganda battle. If you call yourself a black conservative, a Reagan conservative, a Christian conservative, you're out there trying to engage, you might as well call yourself a black racist, a Reagan racist, a Christian racist. If you identify yourself as a constitutional conservative or a Tea Party conservative, oh my gosh, you're a racist. That's what happens. We're losing, we don't have a message problem, we have a messaging problem. And the message that we're using does not defeat the propaganda, the violent and malicious propaganda attacks of a communist left. I don't call them liberals or progressives, they're communist left. They should be proud of who they are. So I'm gonna come back and talk about that a little bit more. I don't say you don't use the word Republican. What I'm saying is, before you use it, make sure you identify, give the meaning of your word conservative, because basically you're talking to, you say conservative, excuse me, they may think you're a George Wallace Bull Connor conservative, who want to embrace the doctrine of the racist fathers versus a conservative who want to save and embrace the writings of the founding fathers. See, the racist fathers gave us Jim Crow and black codes and segregation. The founding fathers gave us what? The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution and Liberty. We need to talk about that later. But look, what can I say about one of your own? You know him better than I do. And I met Colonel West a couple years ago when he was in D.C., and it's just an honor to meet this patriot. One thing I like about Alan and I, we talk occasionally when we happen to bump each other when we meet. One thing I like about Alan is this: he doesn't compromise. Amen. He won't compromise his values. He won't compromise his principles. I put it this way: he's not a political chump. He's a Christian champion. I like that. So my friends, please come up. Colonel Alan West.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, Carl, Derek, and everyone, it's truly an honor to be here. Welcome to my neighborhood, my little backyard. It's good to see you all, because on a Friday night there are many different places that you could be, but the fact that you are here is a true testimony to your belief about what we need to do in this great nation. And why are we here tonight? You know, this young man right over here, Joshua. How old is Joshua? Joshua, come here for a minute. Mom, bring Joshua up for here. Come on. This is why we're here today. Joshua, say hey to all these people. Don't worry, give him a few years. He will come and take the microphone. But see, Joshua, in February the 7th of 1961, that was me. And see, truth transcends color and enables me to stand here before you today. Enables me to have been born in that inner city neighborhood of Atlanta, Georgia, the son of a man who was a corporal in World War II and had an older son who was a simple lance corporal in the United States Marine Corps, who ended up having a second son who became a lieutenant colonel and commanded a battalion in combat, who now has a grandson who was a major in the United States Army, following the exact same footsteps. See, that's how you go from Joshua to his future and his The problem that we have when we talk about strategy, how do we turn this thing around, how do we fix it? I'm going to give you 2 points. First of all, you can't go back on your heels when people call you a racist.
Yeah.
Because see, when people are calling you a racist, that means that's the last line of defense, that you have won the debate, you have won the argument, and they're trying to do something that gets you to self-censor. And most people will self-censor because they don't want to hear that word. You have to become empowered. You have to understand that you're on the right track when they say that R word. Because it's very Pavlovian. If you don't know about Pavlov's experiment, you should go and read it. Okay? If you continue to reward negative and bad behavior, you will get more of that negative and bad behavior. If you continue to reward people for calling you a racist and shutting up, then guess what? They're going to continue to call you a racist. Exactly what Kate Carl was talking about. See, I don't think conservative is a bad word. That's what we're going to discuss here for a few moments. I think conservative is a great word. And why do I think conservative is a great word? Because when Ronald Reagan ran, and he created a complete delineation and separation between his vision for America, the shining city that sits upon a hill, is morning in America. He won 44 out of 50 states when he ran against Jimmy Carter. When he ran for re-election, he won 49 out of 50 states. Now, there's something wrong in Minnesota. Okay? I don't know what's up with those Viking people. You know, they like Jesse Ventura, they got Al Franken up there. But Ronald Reagan gave people an American message. And the problem is that we have allowed other people, the progressive socialists, whatever you want to call them, not liberals, because truly conservatism is classical liberalism. You don't believe it? Go back and read a simple man from England by the name of John Locke in the Second Treatise of Government. But see, the thing about us as a Republican Party, we must know our own history. And if we know our own history, then truth will transcend color. And you will be successful just the same as Ronald Reagan was successful. You will secure a future for young Joshua. Because what happens when you don't know why the Republican Party was established in 1854? The Republican Party was not established just to end slavery. The Republican Party was established for the single principle of making sure that Thomas Jefferson's words in the Declaration of Independence came to fruition. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, not from man. Because if man is the giver of your rights, he can also take them away. It was the creator. And of these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. See, the thing is that the Republican Party was established in 1854 to break the shackles of physical bondage. And in breaking the shackles of physical bondage, the first members, black men who walked on Capitol Hill, they were not Democrats. The first 7 of those incredible men, a great book called Capital Men, they were all Republicans. As a matter of fact, most people here in the state of Florida could not tell you before me who was the last black Republican to be in Congress. And if you don't know that, then truth can never transcend color. His name was Josiah T. Walls, Reconstruction, 1874 to 1876. When you have that type of truth, that's powerful. When you are able to stand up and tell people, go look at the movie Lincoln and see who are the ones that fought to ensure the 13th Amendment went through. It weren't those other guys, Democrats. The party of slavery, the party of secession, the party of segregation. It were people that decided that they had to break the bonds, the chains of physical bondage. And in doing so, the early civil rights legislation was passed by the Republican Congress all the way up until the turn of the century in the 1900s. And at that time of the turn of the century, when the Democrats took over, then they introduced things like Jim Crow and segregation. And we saw lynchings come about. But even still, there was one man, I know Kate Carl is all over Frederick Douglass. This is the guy that I really love. I believe that this man is the father of black conservatism. Because this is not a trend. This is not something new. But when you study the writings of Booker T. Washington, the fact that he was a black man that spoke in my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, at the Southern Exposition, and understand, there was no other face that looked like him in that audience. And Booker T. Washington stood up and promoted 3 principles: education, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance. I don't think that's what the present-day Democrat Party is selling. That was the beginning of truly understanding how was a black community so beaten down by Jim Crow and segregation supposed to be successful. Madam C.J. Walker, the first black female millionaire in the United States of America. How did she get to be successful? Because of education, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance. But who did the Democrat Party promote against the message of Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois? Because they believed that you could agitate, if you could get, the black community. See, we don't want self-reliance. We want reliance. And that is the difference. That is the truth that transcends color. And even when you go through time and you go through history, you understand that during the Eisenhower administration, who was the person that federalized the National Guard and told them to go down to Little Rock, Arkansas, so that 9 black children could go to school? It was a Republican president. Who was the same person that brought up civil rights legislation during his term, but it was voted down by Democrat senators like John F. Kennedy, Al Gore Sr., and the Grand Poobah of the Klan, Mr. Robert Byrd. Eisenhower brought up civil rights legislation. But see, the thing is, we stopped talking that message. We stopped talking about the truth. We lost that connection. When Richard Milhouse Nixon had a great opportunity to call Coretta Scott King because her husband was sitting in the jail in Birmingham, he refused to do so. And in refusing to do so, John F. Kennedy did and got the credit for it. So I can tell you, and some of y'all may remember growing up in a black household down south, there were 3 pictures up on the wall. There was Jesus, Martin Luther King Jr., and John F. Kennedy. And that's how it was for quite some time. And even after Kennedy's assassination, then Lyndon Johnson came in. And Lyndon Johnson, through the Great Society programs 50 years ago, understood this is how I will get this community to vote for me forever. And he said that on Air Force One. He used a very derogatory word to say that I will have them voting for us for the next 200 years. Well, we're 50 years into it right now because he understood it wasn't about self-reliance, it was about reliance. It was not about independence, as the young man said, it was about dependence. And lo and behold, we fell for that. When he said you can give a woman a check for having a child out of wedlock, as long as she never had a man in the home, then all of a sudden the greatest power in the black community, the family, was destroyed. The out-of-wedlock birth rate back 50 years ago in the United States of America was 6%. The out-of-wedlock birth rate today in America is close to 43%. The out-of-wedlock birth rate in the Hispanic community is 56%. In the black community, the out-of-wedlock birth rate is 72%. That was not Republicans that did that. That was a progressive socialist Democrat that did that. The civil rights legislation that passed in 1964 was not going to be successful. But there was a Republican senator by the name of Everett Dirksen that safeguarded that legislation and got it through the Senate. Robert Byrd didn't want it. Al Gore Sr. did not want it. See, that's how truth transcends color. And truth is a powerful thing. Because when you look at all of the major urban centers in the United States of America, you look at the Chicagos, you look at the Detroits, you look at the Philadelphias, you go back to my neighborhood of Atlanta, Georgia, and you see what has happened to Auburn Avenue. It's not because of Republican leadership, it's not because of conservative leadership, it's because of the leadership of alliance. And see, today now the Republican Party was once called upon to break those shackles of physical bondage, we're called upon to break the shackles of economic bondage. To once again restore entrepreneurship, to once again restore self-reliance, to once again restore education. See, the truth that transcends power, that no one talked about in April 2009 when the first black president of the United States of America canceled the DC school voucher program. He said young, deserving black children are not good enough to go to these quality schools, but yet my kids, Malia and Sasha, will be going to the very venerable and prestigious Sidwell Friends. See, truth transcends power when you understand that the first black attorney general of the United States of America, Eric Holder, brought a lawsuit against the state of Louisiana for their school choice program. Where was our voice to stand up and say, truth transcends color? When you have the avowed socialist mayor of New York City, I know we got a lot of transplanted New Yorkers here, but when he stood up and said, I'm going to shut down charter schools, that included one of the highest performing schools in the city of New York. Success Academy in Harlem. And who was it that went and protested to Governor Cuomo? Single black mothers. Single black mothers who wanted an equality of opportunity. They wanted better education choices for their children because they know, as this mother right here knows, that's the key. So that this young man goes from sitting there in that chair to standing up here in front of each and every one of you. But that's not what the other side wants. See, and if we don't go out there with courage and resolve and competence, character, to deliver that message, then the other side hears only one message. We stop talking to the black community. We stop talking to the Hispanic community. I hate the word outreach. Outreach means that you show up in Black History Month, you have some fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, some mashed potatoes, some macaroni and cheese, some sweet tea. You sing "We Shall Overcome," and then the next thing you know, they don't see you again until 2 months before the election. Outreach is not successful. You need to have policy inclusiveness. You need to be down there talking to people about faith, freedom, God, education, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance, and remind them where that came from. Truth can transcend color. Now, are you going to win over an entire community? No. But if you can go in and get 30%, 35% in the black community and the Hispanic community, that's an incredible step. And let me tell you something, because this is something that a lot of people don't understand. The young man back here is Haitian. I'm married to a Jamaican. I'm just an old, dumb Southern boy from down in Georgia. There are three different perspectives. Haitians and Jamaicans, West Indians, they believe in individualism and the ruggedness thereof. They did not come here to this great land of opportunity to live off of government. We can make inroads into those communities, but we don't. Because unfortunately, we just kind of lump everyone together. We can't do that anymore.